Welcome to my latest experiment. This is a big one, the one I've been waiting for all my life.
What is it?
Try to imagine all life as you know it stopping instantaneously and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light.
Oh my God.
The cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
And I am the voice of the voiceless.
And there is no one that does it better.
The Guy and Harley podcast, streaming all over your face.
Perhaps that was the most important part.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Pigville on the internet. Sex has become all I know about you. Memories of those filthy things that we do. There's not one single thought that is left after sex with you. I'm Harley Neville. Welcome along to the Guy and Harley podcast.
And I'm Guy Pigden. And who was that?
That was my homie, my main man, Fred Durst.
Isn't that the second Fred Durst?
No. That's the first Fred Durst we've had on the show.
Okay.
So yeah, that's from No Sex, possibly the best Limp Bizkit song.
What album was that on?
Like the first one or the second one, like real early before they were famous.
Right.
Back before they were mainstream, you know. So yeah.
Well, we're up to episode 36.
Yeah, I think it is.
And look, I guess we have to
big news.
Well, okay. What's your big news?
Well, I was just going to say big news. We've moved house.
We have.
We've moved locations for the podcast, and I'm just hearing it now. There's a lot more reverberation in this room.
Although I did have a listen, and these microphones are very good, so I don't think anyone's going to pick up on that.
All right. Well, we're in our luxurious new mansion.
Yep. Pigville Mansion.
Pigville Manor, as it's known.
Yep.
And basically, it's just a modern, fancy, airy, open version of our old flat.
Boys of the Pigville Manor.
What's that from?
Girls of the Playboy
Mansion.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good, but this moving thing has really been very upsetting. I mean, right off the bat, we have to apologise to our listeners because this is a day late.
Yeah, sorry about that.
And it's a day late because we've been fucking moving. This is only the first time that I've even got everything up and running. You know, and you know, like honestly, I thought it would take a day. In my head, it was a day.
In reality, it's kind of still going.
And yeah, in reality, it's like we're 4 days deep into the move, and now finally, my room is like pretty much how it will be.
Yeah, mine's pretty much set up as well.
But it's pretty good because you know I've transitioned to a much bigger room. Mm-hmm. I've transitioned to a fancier desk. I've got a bigger desk for my editing, my work, and feel pretty good.
Looking almost professional.
Yeah, although I did almost walk into the old flat when I got out of the car.
Yeah,
it was weird because they had a flat party, and I was like, wait, what? You had a party at our flat?
At our house?
But it's not our flat.
Yeah, and
these people aren't people we know, and
no.
we are not scheduling it or doing anything or invited.
I went over. And because I was invited, I did go over.
No, we were invited, to be fair.
I did go over, and I tell you what, it did succeed in making me feel fucking old. Because aside from the fact that I was literally the oldest person there,
aside from the fact that you were 10 years older than everyone,
there's also that I was, like it was a 24th birthday party, which isn't that young, like that's not that much younger than us. We're 32, but I tell you what. There's some hard years in between 24 and 32.
Sure is.
You learn a lot, I think. And, I was looking around and I was like,
it's
yep.
a swift decline.
Yeah. Well, I was also I was like, yep, these are all kids. These are all kids. Which clearly shows how fucking old I am.
And were you like, hey, bros?
I was like, what's up, dudes? I was like, so you guys on MySpace or what?
And they were like, who is this old guy?
Basically, they were like, who the fuck is this old homeless guy with a big grey beard?
Yeah. Well, I didn't go because I had work. But also, like I saw the new guy as a smoker who lives in my room.
Right.
And I saw him smoking outside and I was like, yeah, that's just wrong.
What?
He can't be smoking. Smoking in the flat is bad.
Well, Was he smoking inside?
Well, no, he was smoking outside. And also, to be fair, our favourite flatmate, Ian...
He was a smoker.
Was a smoker.
Yeah.
Who smoked all the time.
Speaking of smokers, though, I do have a bone to pick with smokers.
Yeah.
Which is that, aside from the fact that they stink...
Yeah.
These guys must have like 3 times the carbon footprint that the average person does. Because you've got to remember, the tobacco is not grown in New Zealand.
Yes, we're getting green on it here.
Yeah, well, tobacco's not grown in New Zealand, man. So when you buy your cigarettes, they come over in like tons, like obviously they come over tons at a time on boats from fucking the other side of the world somewhere. That's a big carbon impact. And then you're sitting there smoking them, burning them into the atmosphere. There's tons of sort of stuff. And then to make matters worse, the fucking grotty cunts, they all throw all the cigarette butts all over the ground and they wash out into the ocean with all their chemicals in them.
That's a good point.
So,
have you ever seen a smoker put a smoke in a bin?
No. Normally they just pull their pants down and take a shit on the footpath as well. Fucking animals.
Like even in an ashtray or something like that, it doesn't really.
Well, sometimes there's an ashtray right there, and they still just chuck it on the ground.
Well,
because they're fucking lazy.
They take the ashtray and then they throw the ashtray on the ground.
Yeah.
So, I'm with you there. But so we got a smoker in my room. We got young kids, young hooligans up until all hours.
Well, to be fair, the party did. I think they shut everything down by 2 a.m., which really isn't that bad.
That was very respectful.
And I don't think they had noise control called, so they're obviously not partying as hard as we used to.
Right. Well. Yeah, I mean, that's true. They didn't because I checked because I was working that night. So we do noise control.
Yeah.
And I was like, have you had a call through for 3 Commercial Road yet? And they were like, no, we haven't. So they're actually doing better than us. They're more responsible than we were.
And richer.
Why richer?
I just got a feeling. They're all earning a lot better than we were at 24.
Young, rich, suburban hipsters.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're all earning better than we were at 24, definitely. I was not earning particularly well.
Well, our friend Dylan, flatmate over there, he just got a pay rise.
Yeah, I know. So I heard about that.
I'm sure he's making more money than I am.
Nothing to worry about, though.
Nothing to worry about. So we're only 10 years apart.
Yeah.
Or 8.
So I've got an audition tomorrow.
Oh, good for you. And how was it? I hope it was fucking good because it's useless now, isn't it? Fuck's sake, man, you're amateur. But no! Don't shut me up. This is the second time that he doesn't give a fuck. For fuck's sake.
Oh, you do. Well, let's talk about that actually, because you've had to do some real acting for this one.
I have.
A lot of the time you don't. You don't do any acting.
No, especially for commercials.
You just show up and pull some funny faces.
Sometimes,
and honestly, that is what those ads are, really.
Sometimes you literally do not even have a line.
Yeah.
You've just got to walk in and look right.
Imagine something.
Yeah.
You imagine something.
They're like, look over here and imagine there's a giant tub of Vaseline that you're selling.
And also, as you know, like if you've seen any of the episodes 1 to 3, George Lucas acting in front of green screen, it's fucking hard.
Yeah.
You've got Oscar winners in there doing it quite poorly, right?
Yeah.
And then you expect like Joe Blogs, us, to come in on the street and imagine some dragon, jumping out at you and your reaction to that. And you get one take. And you wonder why you don't get more auditions.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's tough. It's a tough biz. Which ties in nicely with what I was going to say, which is that not getting ads or not getting roles fucking sucks. It's pretty bad for the old emotions. Like, this role that I had a little while ago, this audition I had a little while ago that I was kind of hopeful. I was feeling very optimistic for the big one that I didn't get just the other week, and it was pretty heartbreaking. To realize, because at first I was feeling really, very sort of confident, and I was like, oh yeah, cool. So I'm probably going to get this. I got a really good feeling. And then as time just sort of wore on, and I was on hold, but I never heard anything, and then just slowly but surely, it dawned on me. No, it's really looking increasingly like you're not going to get this. And this is sort of a protracted, week and a half, 2 week long process of rejection.
Well, I think it's an interesting point you make there, Harley, because I think that particularly in this industry, in the film industry, in all sort of aspects of it, but certainly from an actor's point of view and from a writer/director's point of view, and producer, those sort of 4 key roles have to deal with rejection on a daily basis and far more devastatingly over and over again than really most people do in their lives and in their jobs. You know, most of the time you do a job, you do it, it's done. I mean, you get paid for it. That's how it works. You know, in the film industry, you pitch for jobs and you audition for jobs and you present a case why you would be good for a job.
It's basically like going for a job interview every single time.
Every day, basically.
Yeah.
And often, like, you know, as opposed to other jobs, your past history doesn't really mean anything. Yeah. Doesn't really count for or against you in any way.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like, and so you ramp up to this thing and, you know, try your hardest and do your best, and they go, no, sorry. And that's the default. The default is no.
Yeah.
So the regular thing you're going to get is no, sorry, you're not good enough for some reason.
Sometimes it's not even that. It's sometimes it's just literally no call.
You
no
don't
nothing.
hear anything.
Like, it's just like, oh, you haven't heard anything? Oh, I guess that means you haven't got it.
And so, you know, you're in this position where you have to develop this very, very tough, thick skin because it's just like sort of like over and over again. And, you know, when people say, like, people that are not in the industry are like, oh, you know, what's the big deal? You know, well, you're living your dream. Like, don't complain, blah, blah. And it's like, well, yeah, but, you know, in your daily day-to-day, people aren't shitting on you all the time.
Well, consider this as well. I've had an agent for it must be knocking on 10 years now. That's 10 years worth of auditions.
Yep.
And in that entire time, that entire 10 years, I've landed 3 commercials. Of the hundreds of auditions I've had, I've landed 3. And then I've landed like a few other kind of, you know, other sort of minor roles or you know, things like that. But through my agent, I've landed 3 commercials in 10 years. That's a lot of rejection.
Yeah, I've landed 1.5.
What was the half?
The half was
that
rugby
show.
No, the Rugby World Cup.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but it wasn't like, I can't remember auditioning for that. I feel like we just got it and then we ended up getting speaking roles and got paid like $1,000 for the Rugby World Cup.
Yeah.
Like, just think about that for a second.
Yeah.
It was
and
like,
did that play much?
Yes, it played all the time.
Did you see it on TV?
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
I never saw it, I don't think. I don't think I ever saw that ad at all.
Yeah, it's like,
I still don't think I've seen it.
It's like, we've got our ticket. Have you got yours? And we all hold up our ticket.
You should try to find that on YouTube.
Yeah, should probably.
Because I'd like to see it.
Bother to do that.
And then the other one was promoting Auckland.
Yeah.
Pretending to be a dumb hick from the South Island.
Yeah,
which wasn't too much of a stretch. And then promoting Auckland in a sort of... How long did that play for?
That played for maybe 6 months or a year. I can't remember which one. All I know is that they didn't renew it for another. And I was like, that would have been really good.
Yeah.
That would have been really good.
Yeah.
But that's what I think. So, you know, like when you're dating a tortured filmmaker or actor, you know, don't be so harsh to judge when they emo and moan all the time about everything.
Well,
bemoan the state of their career. You know, just give them a break, because if you got rejected every day in your life, you'd actually probably be horribly depressed. You'd probably feel terrible and not want to go on. But we do. We soldier on. So yeah, it's a rare breed. It's a rare breed of complainers.
Yeah.
that can do that.
So give us a fucking break.
So shut up, right? Shut your fucking mouth.
Now, so this audition tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I've been just in general, I've been a bit more proactive with my acting of late. You know, I did the American accent course, which was my first like night course of any description ever.
Yeah.
And now I'm halfway through an acting night course.
Yeah.
Where I've got to do a monologue every single week. I've got to practice a monologue and then perform it in front of the rest of the class every week, and then get kind of critiqued and directed. Yeah, it's pretty good. And then this time I had to learn. So basically, I got a call up from my agent. Hey, so we might have an audition for you, but we might not. It really depends on if you can do a Yorkshire accent. And I didn't know what the fuck a Yorkshire accent was.
You didn't even know what it was, but you said yes.
Yeah, I literally didn't know what it was. I was like, well, obviously it's in England or somewhere, you know, but and
You go, obviously it's in York.
yeah, basically. Well, basically, it's in the Shire. Clearly, it's in the Shire.
This is some type of Hobbit variation here.
And so yeah, she was like, "Can you do the audition? It's for a telly feature, which is probably as much as I can tell you, but it's and I was like, so hold up, it's a role in a feature film, and I was like, I don't know what this accent is, but it's like 5 or 6 days away, the audition. So I was like, well, it's long enough to sort of learn it, and I was really in two minds. I was like, should I say I can do it? Because I told her I'd think about it for an hour.
Yep.
And then she called me back, and I had to make a decision right then and there. And I was like, well, just do it. And the reason why was I was like, well, are you really going to say no to an opportunity like this? And I was like, if you were truly a hungry actor, I was actually thinking of Michael Caine. I read Michael Caine's autobiography, and I was thinking,
great book.
Yeah, great book for sure.
What's it called? What's It All About?
What's It All About? That's it. What's it all about, Alfie?
What's it all about, Alfie?
And then so I've read his book, and he came to mind. I was like, well, Michael Caine would definitely say yes to this, even though he can't do the accent. He would just figure it out, and so would any other really truly motivated actor. So I said, yep, I can do it, and then I hung up the phone and shit my pants. But so I've been learning anyway, and now I'm feeling reasonably confident.
Well, I have to say, Harley, I'm proud of you.
Thanks, buddy.
Because once upon a time, you may have still definitely said yes to the audition, but you wouldn't have done jack shit. Okay, you would have said yes, and then you would have faffed about for the week leading up to it, and you would have kind of half-assed tried, but not really tried, and not really done any research.
I would have walked in there and been like, "Hello, governor."
Yeah, you would have walked in and done and copied my accent as Samwise Gamgee from gay Hobbit parody.
Well, that still might happen. To be fair, Samwise might still shine through.
Mr. Frodo. So that's what you would have done. But this more mature Harley Neville, that's not what you did. You dropped some fucking coin, $75.
Well, I haven't paid her yet, but yep.
To the tune of $75.
Well, no, plus the other $25 US for this course that I bought online as well.
So
Hundy.
Hundy.
Yeah.
To work on an accent over Skype, which you had to do late at night. Into the wee hours of the morning, because of the why?
No, it wasn't that late.
Oh, okay.
It was like 8 p.m.
Oh, okay.
But that's the wee hours of the morning for us old boys,
But anyway, but you did it. You also rehearsed with several people. It's not even one person. You did a course with one person. You spoke to someone with a Yorkshire accent that you just knew.
Yeah.
And then you downloaded these tapes.
And then I rehearsed with Joss Christian, who plays Susan in I Survived a Zombie Holocaust. I met up with her today and did some rehearsal too.
Yep.
Had to risk my life driving across the Auckland Harbour Bridge on a 100cc motorbike. Yeah.
Put your life in your hands for this role.
I did.
So... that is a much better effort.
Yeah.
And I really respect that because, it's like you want the role, you got to go for it, you got to go hard, you got to go all out, you got to leave nothing on the table. And I think that's, I think whenever I look at filmmaking, whatever I deem a success or not, is I ask that question is like, did I do everything in my own power with my own set of skills to achieve this thing? And if the answer is yes, then I feel okay and I feel better even if it didn't quite work.
Yeah.
So, I think, and do you want, let's debut a little bit of the...
All right.
Yeah, let's go.
And what's the line again? He goes, how about we have our next meeting on the boat? Get a taste of that luxury you've been so enjoying.
That's good.
It's good.
I buy that.
You'd buy it.
Fully buy it. I fully buy that.
Yeah.
So, and you look like the guy because you can't. I don't think
that's the thing.
You can't talk about.
I can't talk about it, but I look. It's a historic thing, and I look like the guy historically.
Yeah.
So that's an advantage.
also, like, how many guys do you look like? Like, 0. Not like normally. You think about an actor, you more think about they have sort of similar-ish traits, and then you mold them. But for bald, hairy guys,
Well, I mean,
it's a bit more difficult.
Vin Diesel.
You think you
There's
could
a little bit of Jason Statham in there, I guess. If you had to,
a little bit of Bruce Willis?
a little bit of young Bruce Willis. Die Hard 1. The original.
Well, no, you had hair of that.
Wow, he was on his way.
Wow, he still had hair was there.
Well,
You're Die Hard 4 Bruce Willis.
you take that back. It's not true.
You're Die Hard 4 Die Harder, or Die Hardest, or
Yeah.
Die Hard 4.0, or whatever the hell it was
Die
called.
Henwood. Doesn't even make sense.
So that's good. I think you got a good shot, and I look forward to you getting that role.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's a month-long shoot, and it's going to be difficult. Just say I do get it, it would be difficult to just get work off, which is kind of a concern for me because work's getting busier and busier. Plus, a girl is apparently leaving my work soon.
Right.
Which means there might be a man down or a woman down, and so it might be actually kind of difficult to get out of work for a month at kind of shortish notice. And which means just say I did get it, I'd be pressed. I'd be stuck with quite a tough decision. Do I quit my very cruisy, well-paying job, or in order to take a role in a film that's not going to pay me very much, but maybe be an opportunity, but probably not a major opportunity, but it'll still help me for sure. But or do I just say no to the role? But you couldn't do that.
Now, with regards to your accent, do you just know the script words?
Yeah, basically.
So you can't just read something off the cuff.
Nah. Well, I mean,
can you read something off?
Well, look, I've got this thing here.
You got this
from Jesus.
You got this. So Jesus came around the other day.
Yeah.
And
let me find a good bit.
he gave us a list of stuff to check up on to see where we were headed.
Yeah.
After we die.
So
right.
Yeah. So he said, Jesus. He asked me the following questions the other day. He said, "Have you ever told a lie? Told a lie? I don't know. Have you ever? Have you ever stolen something? The value was irrelevant." Don't know about that. Have you ever dishonored your parents by disobeying them? Have you ever hated someone and wished they were dead? Dead. I reckon they got dead or something. Have you ever used the name of Jesus or Christ as a swear word? Word. That'd be longer there. But so the answer is no. I can't do that.
I thought that was pretty good.
No, not too bad. Yeah.
Well, now we've had this checklist. Now I think anyone can agree of that checklist.
Yeah,
you check all of them, right? The only one that you might ambiguously have not checked was wishing someone was dead.
Oh no! You and I
definitely checked that.
You and I went through some rough times when you were in London, and So no, I definitely wish some people were dead. No doubt about it. I'm as guilty as sin.
Okay. So what happens if you've ticked any one of those boxes?
If you've ticked any one of these boxes, if this paperwork is to be believed, now Jesus' paperwork. He left this here the other day. It says here. He's left me a pamphlet.
Yeah.
It says here that if I have done any of those things, then I'm going to hell.
Right. Any of them.
Unless of course I turn from sin and surrender myself to Jesus.
Okay.
But that doesn't sound that good, because you read here, it says that he made it clear that if we are going to submit to him and be willing to face, then we have to be willing to face suffering and tough times just like he did. And to be honest, that sounds like a shit deal. So I've got to surrender to the guy and then inherit his bullshit.
Also,
It's like marrying a woman with kids already.
Also, when you imagine submitting to Jesus, to me, that's him putting his cock in your mouth.
Well, yeah.
Basically, submit to Jesus.
Yeah, well, you do have to take the...
submit to Jesus. Take the holy rod.
Yeah, no, you have to take the flesh. You have to take the flesh in your mouth and drink of the holy milk. So honestly though, this whole so basically I've got this pamphlet, right?
Okay. Now, does it have if does it say anything if you didn't check any of those?
Well, they don't even give you the option.
They don't even give you the spreadsheet. Does not allow for that.
No, because basically what they're doing is it's so passive aggressive. They choose all these vague things that they know that literally everybody has done. One of them, have you ever dishonored your parents by disobeying them? Like, so yes, when I was 5 once, Mum told me not to play by the road. I was about 5, and Mum told me not to play by the road, and my friend and I went out and we started playing a game. We would run back and forward across this quite busy road to pick up like rocks and shit from the other side. Yeah. It's kind of just a, but it was fucking stupid.
Yeah.
That was a direct disobey, and for that, straight to hell.
Straight to hell.
No, actually, no. Let's make it real clear what hell is. Eternal torture.
What's frustrating to me is like some of these are worse than others.
Yeah.
Okay. But look.
So yeah. Okay. Telling a lie that's bad. That's bad. But using the guy's name with a shitty attitude, that's not that bad.
Eternal torture.
Yeah, eternal torture. And so, yeah, they don't even give you the option because they know. It's a leading question. Have you ever hated someone? Like everyone's done these. So yeah, it's scary really, because this stuff's so passive aggressive, and the stuff they're saying here, you're basically you, me, every listener is a disgusting, dirty sinner. You're all going to be tortured and go to hell if you do not submit to this being, to
Jesus' divine rod.
Yes, it's friggin' preposterous, is what it is.
It is a bit silly, because also the thing is, I guess my beef with this whole thing and this whole you're going to hell thing is like, if you think about Jesus or God or whatever as this benevolent being, this dude that loves everyone, he's and is very forgiving apparently, because he forgives everyone if you
just got to ask.
Yeah,
doesn't matter how many children you've touched
or murdered.
Or murdered and then touched.
Yeah, like he's good. So you think, okay, well, you know what? He's probably gonna let these little things slide. Actually, if he's okay with child molesters,
he's okay with you saying his name with a shitty attitude.
Probably, and I do think that if there is a God or a Jesus, he would actually be a very mellow dude.
Yeah, well,
he'd be a chilled out dude.
Yeah, not if he did everything that's in the Bible though, because that's not very chilled out.
Well,
he murdered a lot of people in the Bible.
Well, is that the first part of the Old Testament or New Testament?
I guess it's the Old Testament. I know that's the more violent one.
Yeah, did some biblical shit,
but
literally.
I guess that was just
some biblical shit.
I guess that was just his. His awkward teen years.
That was his early angry days. Yeah. We've all been there when we're in our 20s, and we're just fucking frustrated.
Listening to heavy metal, and
he's just like, plagues, pestilence on entire countries or world or whatever. The whole flooding.
Yeah, murdering millions of people with a flood. What about this? What about how Noah's Ark, is where all the animals, he saved all the animals, right? Now, aside from the obvious sort of space, as in physical space issue where you can't fit 2 of every type of animal into one boat, it's just not going to happen. But just aside from that, let's say that there was some gene splicing going on and, he had it all that way. When the waters receded, the boat got stuck on top of a mountain. I can't remember the name of the mountain now, and it was in the Middle East,
right?
Which means that the penguins walked from the Middle East to Antarctica, and the kangaroos bound from the Middle East to Australia and they picked up all their dead along the way, so as that we couldn't see it, we couldn't find a physical trail. Because obviously, if an entire herd had moved from one place to another, you would find evidence along the way of all these trails of dead animals and shit and all that stuff. There'd be evidence. Nothing. They've just walked along and they picked up their dead as they went and took them with them.
Well, let's take this a little bit further, Harley.
Okay.
Incest babies.
Yeah.
All of everything is incest babies.
Yeah.
From these two of each animal that mated and then slept with their daughters or sons, and their sons and daughters slept with each other. And that's how we have all the animals in the world.
Yeah.
Incest.
Well, we've already established that I'm okay with incest.
Massive amounts of incest.
Well, if you think about it, though, what about the humans? So, according to the Bible, we are from incest not once but twice, because originally there was only Adam and Eve, and they had kids and then fucked them, and then made babies with their kids. Well, there was only an Adam and an Eve. They didn't magically make more people. Like they magically made Adam from the dirt and Eve from Adam's rib, and then these. They presumably had sex with their children, and their children had sex with each other in order to procreate.
Because also, who would be teaching the sex?
Yeah,
it's got to be.
Exactly. It's got to be the parents. But then,
and how are they doing that? This gets pretty sick if you think about it.
Well, not just that, but so that goes on, right? And we populate the whole earth from these two people. That's a lot of incest, and then the biblical flood comes along, and Noah, he saves his family, and basically everyone else dies. And then he repopulates the earth again, only with his family. How's that? We're twice incested, whatever that is.
Yeah. Well, look, I guess you can't take these things too seriously.
Well, that's the thing. You can't, and yet people do. They base their lives on it, and that's the scary thing.
So... Now, have you seen the movie Noah?
No, I haven't. I haven't. No, I haven't.
No, I haven't, love. I heard it's pretty good. Actually.
Oh, really?
I heard it's pretty good.
I'm open to seeing it. I would kind of like to see it. Is it actually a biblical, is it a religious film? Is it funded by, is it propaganda, or is it a film based on Noah?
Yeah, I think it's more sort of artistic interpretation of the story.
But you know how sometimes they have those kind of Jesus movies,
yeah, well,
they always tend to have an angle, and the angle at the end of it is that God is good and you should follow him.
Well, no, I don't think so.
Right.
Although it may, probably 50% of films are kind of pro-faith to some degree.
Well, speaking of people that I look like, Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
He isn't particularly religious, is he?
No, I don't think so.
That's an interesting choice to play Noah.
Well, I think it was just a cool role.
Right, yeah.
Because, they had that...
She has more than twice our guns, more than twice our numbers, and we must stop her.
Russell Crowe is the best impersonation you've delivered on this podcast.
Yeah. That was from that movie where that crap movie where he's the captain of a boat.
I thought, if you actually look at, at the time it was crap, but if you look at his body of work, it's actually not that bad.
Yeah. It was
Master
just
and Commander.
That's the one. Masturbating Commander. It was just too long was the problem. It was just a little bit long for me.
I enjoyed the bit where there was, it panned past a guy's knuckles and it said hold fast and they're in a storm.
Right.
Nice touch.
Yeah.
Nice
sort
touch.
of vindicated all those hipsters out there that have hold fast tattooed on their knuckles while they work down at JJ's.
The hipsters didn't exist at that time.
Yeah.
Hipsters were not born into the world yet.
So Master and Commander started hipsters.
They're responsible for hipsters.
Yeah. Well, look, do you know that we used to finish this show... I'll get you another beer in a second, mate. We used to finish this show with poetry, but then I ran out of poetry. Harley's original poetry.
Because you gave up on your dream of being a poet after you came last to the slam poetry competition.
Speaking of constant rejection and how you've just got to keep going, I came last once and gave up.
Gave up completely. Have you written any more poems?
No, I've written some things down. To be honest, though, the real issue is not so much that I came last in the slam poetry competition in Otara.
You stopped having good ideas.
Basically, the inspiration just stopped striking me, and it just doesn't matter how much weed I smoke, it just doesn't come back.
It's almost as if the weed is now having a detrimental effect and muddying your brain and not allowing you to think creatively anymore.
Well, look, I've got my next book lined up, right? So last time I read a book or the last book that inspired me rather was Al Gore, the 6 Drivers of Global Change. And that's not sure what it's called, but that's the subtitle. I can't remember what the fucking it's called. It's Al Gore book about like the world and the future and things that are going to play a big sort of part in the future of the earth, and from the environment to the effect the internet has had and all these types of things. And it was very interesting, and that inspired me to write some poetry. And then since then I've been reading Game of Thrones, which is not so much going to inspire you creatively, or not me anyway. But my next one though is The Greatest Show on Earth, which is Richard Dawkins. It's all about evolution, so I'm kind of hoping that one will give me some inspiration too. So you know, just hold and wait and see.
Do you follow Richard Dawkins on Twitter?
I do, and I tweeted at him the other day saying, "Hey, bro, I've wrote a poem that you inspired." Yeah. No reply.
Did he favourite?
No.
Retweet?
No, nothing. But I did still get some traffic from it from other,
I've heard he's
hedonistic atheists.
I read an article saying he was a bit of a dick on Twitter.
Yeah. Have you not kept up with that?
Not really, but they were saying it's bad because, you know, he's promoting like a smart message, but he's too much of a dick.
Yeah, well, it's not. It doesn't seem that bad to me, to be honest. It's just little things like he kind of doesn't pull his punches, and so he'll say things that are true, but they're quite difficult to swallow. Like there was one. I'll have to get back to you on exactly what it was, but basically, I think it's really just a matter of what he's saying is still true. It's just it's not very tactful. And he kind of is just an old man on Twitter, and he just says it.
Yeah.
You know, and then of course, you know, because he's Richard Dawkins, all these people jump on it and you know, hold on to it, and they go, "Oh, this is derogatory towards women" or something like that. When really that's not how it's intended. He's talking about something different. You know.
Yeah.
He has perhaps marred his good name by sort of getting on Twitter and saying sometimes sort of controversial things, but not too bad.
Yeah, now, speaking of marring their good name...
Well, hold up. I just wanted to say that I do think that at the end of this podcast, we should end on a poem, which I've never done on this podcast before.
Okay.
But it is Gravity.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that good old classic.
Yeah,
okay.
Well, I've never done it on the podcast.
We'll finish with that one.
All right.
We'll finish with that one. Gravity being my stomach dropping whenever I hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, speaking on the upper side, on the spiritual side of things, the Dalai Lama recently said something controversial.
Yeah, he said. Do you remember? He said
about the girl.
Yeah, it was that you can't have a female.
Well, he said it would be
unless
okay.
she's hot.
Yeah, it would be. He was like, they're like, what happens if, you know, it's reincarnated and the Dalai Lama's a woman? And he was like, oh, well, that would be sweet if she's attractive. And they're like, could you please give us some clarification on that?
Yeah.
And he goes, well, she wouldn't be much good if she wasn't attractive.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was his clarification.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Music's
from the Dalai Lama, although some element of truth, because, you know, it helps.
Women that are not attractive are useless.
And also, yes, and also, you know, if you're attractive, people pay more attention to you. Just ask Brad Pitt.
Yeah, there you go. No, but also, though, you know, even that, as much as I don't want to jump to the defense of the Dalai friggin' Lama and his fucking imaginings, you know, you have to say that it could be interpreted to mean like that the person needs to be attractive, as in that person, doesn't matter male or female, needs to be attractive and attracting followers and attracting attention, you know.
Attracting Twitter followers on the Dalai Lama's Twitter page.
Yeah, exactly. But then again, to say that... No, but he could be saying, you know, so the person needs to be attractive regardless, and they're not much... As a spiritual leader, they're not good if they're not attractive. And that doesn't necessarily mean they've got a great rack. You know, that means they attract your attention.
What I thought was sweet is if he that's how he clarified it, and there'll be no more discussion on the topic.
Yeah.
Regardless of the hate or anything, he's just like, yeah, whatever. She's got to be hot.
Yeah.
Now fuck off. I'm the Dalai Lama and I'm out. because we need more of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
We need more people not giving a fuck.
Well, he can't apologize because if he makes a public apology, that's sort of saying that he is fallible. And if he's fallible, well, what else is he wrong about? Maybe he's wrong about reincarnation and all that other
Maybe he's wrong about his llamas.
Maybe he is.
Maybe they're not so dallying.
No. They're eating them at the deli.
Deli llamas.
Terrible. That if you ever own a deli, make sure you get some llama meat and sell it and call it the Dalai Lama. Yeah. Make sure you do that if before you die.
Yeah. Before you die and are reincarnated as the llamas
as the llama that you're eating.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Well, speaking of outrage, it wouldn't be a week wouldn't go by without people getting outraged on the internet about some nonsense.
Yep.
But I'll pose this one to you because it's kind of an interesting one.
Okay.
Now, Matt Damon, star of The Martian, that's coming out, which looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that.
And all round nice guy and pretty chilled out dude.
Yep.
Smart.
Quite an inspiration too, in the sense that he made himself with Good Will Hunting and all that.
I won an Oscar for that script. Yeah. And we always used to talk about it a little bit less, but I think it's just as true. We always used to kind of refer to ourselves as the Ben Affleck and Matt Damon.
Yeah. If Matt Damon was short and bald and out of shape and and Ben Affleck was 32 years old and hadn't been in all those films yet,
or won an Oscar,
Dazed and Confused,
or done anything significant,
been in the cult film Dazed and Confused.
Well, that was the problem because we used to refer to ourselves as the young Matt Damon and Ben Affleck.
Now we're the old Matt Damon and Ben Affleck.
Exactly. But we didn't anticipate it when we started that moniker.
Yeah.
And who could have also predicted Ben Affleck's
I've got my J-Lo actually. I just thought about it.
Meteoric rise from the depths of that film he did with J-Lo, Geely, and Pearl Harbor and everyone hating him, to being this Oscar-winning, Oscar-nominated dude, and Batman. He's Batfleck. Now, so
Pearl Harbor was a steaming pile of shit.
It was not good, but you really the blame lies solely on Michael Bay for that one.
Yeah. It's just a bad film. Like, as a World War II enthusiast, someone who has an interest in World War II, who's read up about it, when I watched that, I was like, fuck, this is shit. I still remember this one scene where they go, okay, everybody, so this is a suicide mission. If you go on this mission, you're all definitely going to die and never see your families again. Okay, so who's volunteering? And then all of these proud Americans all stepped forward with one, in sync, unified step forward. It was it was so cheesy and stupid. It made me angry.
Yeah,
I'm angry just talking about it.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of silly things in that film. But there's a lot of silly things in Michael Bay's films. Full stop.
Yeah, well, that's why I don't think I've ever seen a Michael Bay film that I like.
Yeah,
what's his best one?
His best one, maybe the first Transformers, or maybe the first Bad Boys.
Oh yeah, okay. Bad Boys was quite good.
Bad Boys pretty good,
but I haven't seen it for a long time. But I did like it.
And Bad Boys 2 was good too, but just silly and ridiculous. But a lot of fun. He also did The Island. Remember that?
What is that? The Leonardo DiCaprio,
Ewan McGregor.
Oh,
and they dress up in those white jumpsuits and they're getting harvested for organs.
Oh yeah, that was good.
That wasn't bad.
I like that one.
Remember there was that one, but the problem with that, or one of the problems with that, was that bit where they fell off this top of this building and then got caught in some netting down the bottom. And they just fallen to their death.
Yeah.
But they got caught in this netting.
Right.
The netting would have killed them.
Yeah.
Everything would have killed them.
Yeah, it would have diced them up like cheese.
But they just kind of just fell down there, and I really didn't like that. But I agree that The Island is not bad and underrated. And also, especially for Michael Bay, very good. I just can't get over his bastardization of the Freddy Krueger. He didn't direct it, but he basically produces a lot of horror films under Platinum Dunes, which is his production company. One of them being the remake of Freddy, one of them being the remake of Nightmare on Elm what's it? Not Halloween. Friday the 13th, and one being a remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And the Texas Chainsaw Massacre one was okay.
Yeah, I think I watched that.
Watchable, and then it went into, the Friday the 13th, which again did well, but it wasn't really that great. It was just kind of like a slick-looking horror film. But then the Freddy Krueger one was really just bad, because they went from like Freddy Krueger just murdering kids to being a pedophile,
Right.
which was just it was a bridge too far, because I mean everyone loves Freddy at this stage, and then it's like he's a pedophile.
Well, isn't that why they burnt him though? But then
they
the parents,
burnt him because he was murdering people's kids.
Oh, so okay,
He wasn't a pedophile.
Right.
Look, I'm fine with murdering kids, because kids are really annoying and need murdering. And not only do they need murdering, there's too many of them.
Yeah.
So, Freddy was doing us all a big favour.
If you think about it.
So he was a hero, and you can see why he's become a hero.
And then he came back from the dead to continue his job. So he's almost kind of like Jesus in that sense.
It's true.
He's come back from the dead to keep killing people. He's just like Jesus, actually, if you think about it.
Freddy's a modern day Jesus Christ. And so they made him a pedophile, and they just made there was no more sort of, obviously Freddy has the odd funny line here and there, which is quite acceptable to me, and it was just lost all its character. But also the first Freddy Nightmare on Elm Street was about these high school kids. And the last one was also about high school kids, except they never went to high school or hung out or acted like high school students.
Yeah.
They were just kind of randomly in these places, and Freddy was kind of stalking them, and it was just kind of like, what the fuck? And now they're talking about rebooting it again and bringing back the original Freddy and doing it sort of more normally, which I'm a big fan of. But, it was just...
But isn't there other stories to be told? Look, how many times do we need to remake things?
Look,
I can't believe Spider-Man.
Someone coming into your dreams will never die. Freddy Krueger can go on forever.
I know, yeah, sure. And I'm sure you can keep telling stories about it. But surely they need to start thinking up some original stories.
It's the nerds. It's the nerds. It's for me. It's for these people who will keep eating it up, eating this shit up with a silver spoon and shoveling it in their face and just gobbling away all this shit, consuming it. That's what I do. And I did watch that. I went to see that at the movies, and I was just like, oh my god. But I've got a good idea for a Nightmare on Elm Street, and I've got a good idea for a Halloween remake as well.
Okay, good.
So if Hollywood, if you're listening, I'm over here. I'm in New Zealand. I got the tools.
He'll work for cheap.
Zombie Holocaust proved that. Just give me some of these properties, and I'll make some magic. But anyway, so this recent controversy, Matt Damon, our friend Matt Damon, he is part of a TV show called Project Greenlight. Do you know anything about that?
I haven't heard of it.
Haven't heard anything about it?
Don't know a thing about it.
Okay. Okay, so basically Project Greenlight is...
Oh, is it like where you pitch things, and if you get the green light, it's like a reality show?
It's a reality show about filmmaking. Right. Where they basically...
Yeah. I've seen bits of that.
Yeah, and it's actually really good, because essentially it's Ben Affleck and Matt Damon given back.
Now, you might recall that I actually pitched this very concept to you, and then I think I even mentioned it. I mentioned it to a producer at MediaWorks, because I was like, so how about this? A reality TV show where people make films, and they compete to have the best short film. I can't remember exactly what it was, but basically it was like you pitched your concept, and throughout the course of it, each of them got to sort of make a film, and the highlights of this was all kind of cut together into this reality show that was kind of making it a competition, and at the same time, you'd have Peter Jackson come in and judge it and all this type of stuff.
I'll say a couple of things there. They kind of did do that with Make My Movie, the first...
Right.
Which was a kind of a rip-off of Project Greenlight.
Yeah.
But I guess what I find's cool, I don't care about short films. I only like feature films.
Yeah.
So that's the big appeal to me.
Yeah, but I think at the end of it, the idea was that at the end of it, the person who made the best short, they got funding for their feature.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And that was kind of the point.
That's not bad.
So the idea is you're competing to get the $1 million to make your movie.
Right. through doing one short.
Yeah, through doing your one short, and the whole process is documented, and you are kind of competing with the other contestants, and you've each got your own crew and that type of thing.
And we're the hosts.
Well,
the successful,
we're the successful
filmmaker hosts.
Well, maybe it was going to be Peter Jackson or somebody, Andrew Adamson or
but
somebody,
we have
Taika Waititi.
Wow, fuck those guys.
Or,
like Zombie Holocaust is pretty cool. So we could continue our evolution into Ben Affleck and Matt Damon by hosting this program like Project Greenlight.
Well, I sort of pitched it to a producer at MediaWorks, and she didn't say no, and she was like, oh yeah, it could be interesting, but basically she sort of said, she goes, well, the thing is, whenever you're pitching a show, you've got to ask yourself, when would it play on TV? What's the audience and when would it play? And I was kind of like, well, yeah, when would it play? Like, when would a reality show like that fit? It's too smart for 7:30.
Yep.
You need something dumb about making cakes or painting walls.
Yep.
So when would it go? And then it's later on in the day. I don't know. So yeah. And then she didn't really pursue it beyond that. But she kind of put me off when she said that.
Right. Well, look, it's a good idea because Ben Affleck and Matt Damon did it.
Yeah. Well, they copied me.
No, well, this has been around for 10 years.
I'm just going to switch the light on, but you keep talking.
Yeah, so anyway, basically, Matt Damon, on an episode of Project Greenlight, made a controversial statement which some people construed as racist.
Oh!
Yeah. Matt Deasy, the man, the golden boy.
What did he say?
He said...
Fuck all the niggers.
Yeah, he did.
Is that what he said?
That.
I think that's what he said, isn't it?
Basically, what happened is they were talking about who they should select, which director they should select to be part of this thing. And, one of them said, well, what about these two? One of them's a Korean and I think one of them's a black person. This directing team, what about them? And he said, look... the diversity.
I like chicken, not rice.
He's like, the diversity should be in front of the camera, but behind the scenes, not so much. And everyone was like, "Oh, Matt Damon's a racist."
Well, what does that even mean? Is he saying that
no
black people can't be behind the scenes?
No, basically what he was saying, I think, and very simply, and it seemed very straightforward to me, is he was simply saying that. It's not you should never ever pick someone because they're a woman
so
or because they're black
or
because they're Asian or anything. That should have nothing to do with our choice right now. Our choice right now is who is the best director, not who is the best director plus these two things added on top.
Yeah, these factors of race. Yeah.
And that's basically sort of, he made a statement to sort of clarify but he didn't really apologize, but he still even had to, the fact that he even had to comment on it to me was a bit frustrating. He had to comment it and he basically said, well, look, I'm not a racist, and I'm glad this has opened up a discussion, if that's the case. But, everyone jumped on and they're like, oh, he's racist, he doesn't want to see diversity and all this. And I was just like, really, guys?
Yeah.
When the fuck are we all just going to just take a breath?
But it still harks back to that same shit where it's like, who gives a fuck what people say on Twitter? How is it? Why are people talking about what Matt Damon said on Twitter? How is that an outrage that people need to care about? You know, like, well, who gives a shit what that dumb bitch from, South Dunedin, thinks or whatever, well, everyone's got a Twitter account nowadays. Not everyone's opinion matters though.
I think the problem, and I think this is something that no one really, there's more outlets now for people to voice their sort of. So before, that would have been 4 letters to HBO. Once upon a time, that would have been 4 letters to HBO. And that was the end of it. And no one gave a fuck. But basically what happened is you had all these people on Twitter going, duh, 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 and the way the networks and the way everyone measures things now is, well, what's trending on Twitter? Matt Damon racist hashtag, and so they go, oh shit, damage control. Oh, well, Matt Damon's got to make a statement, and so he gets dragged into this nonsense. When back in an earlier time, it was just because the only people that cared and wanted to make the effort would have had to go about sending a letter, which would have gone from hundreds of thousands of people to
4.
10. Yeah, to 4. Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
But because everyone can just get on Twitter now, and then because that becomes a trending thing, and then everyone reads that, and then everyone plays the clip, and it just becomes
it's also
a cycle.
It's also much like we spoke of last week in the last podcast. We said about how on Zombie Holocaust, you've got people on our film Zombie Holocaust. You look it up online. You've either got very positive or very negative posts about it and responses to it. And it's because if you're in a shitty mood about something, you're so much more likely to get out there and talk about it. So yeah, if you're in a shitty mood about Matt Damon saying something, you're going to jump online, you're going to rant about it. Whereas if you agreed with Matt Damon, you're not going to jump online and go, I agree with Matt Damon, about this random thing. So, really you only hear about it, or you only hear the negative aspect of it, or the negative view on it, and it's always the same on the internet. It always takes a few days so the first thing trends, which is Matt Damon's a racist, and then it takes a few days for some sense to fucking come into the internet, and then that's when the next thing trends, which is actually, guys, this is why Matt Damon isn't a racist and you're all fucking idiots. But it always takes a few days for that to happen, and by that stage, no doubt they've already got Matt Damon in to make it worse.
And by that stage, Matt Damon has lost out on several jobs.
Yeah.
But, and also
at risk of being the next Hulk Hogan.
He's been vilified like Hulk Hogan by that stage.
He's had his toy line dropped. The Matt Damon action figures have been dropped.
They've cut him out of Team America. They've
cut him out of Goodwill Hunting and re-released it.
That would be a very short film. So yeah, I think that it's all a bit silly, but like this is the era that we're in, and fortunately we're here to talk some fucking sense.
Yeah, to call people out on this crap.
So lucky for us. Now, I guess one other thing I should mention is, which we didn't talk about last week, but maybe a good way to wrap it up. I went to see old Kevin Smith.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
who has worked with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon.
Yep.
In several films. And it was a wonderful night. My girlfriend, my beloved, got me a ticket. Mm-hmm. And, because that's exactly the type of thing that I would have gone, fuck, I'd love to see that, and then forget all about it and then read something online about how it was good.
Yeah.
But she got us tickets, and it was like one of the best shows that I've been to.
Yeah.
For many reasons. For starters,
Now, should we assume that the listeners know who Kevin Smith is?
Well, I'll give a bit of backstory, because Kevin Smith is truly one of my heroes.
Yeah.
Basically, he is, I guess his sort of claim to fame is that he made a film called Clerks, which was this low-budget, independent feature
Black and white,
about some guys basically shooting the shit at a video store. He did it all himself. He just sort of came up with it. He was very young. I think he was 23 when he shot it. He basically maxed out a bunch of credit cards to do it. He shot it on 16mm film. Very sort of, very indie, sort of very do-it-yourself and very inspiring. And basically, I've got a sneeze coming.
Live.
Sneeze on sight. But basically he was, for a generation of people, a huge inspiration, particularly for me. And I remember when I saw Clerks, I was like, I'm going to do my Clerks. And I did a short film called Shop Days. And I honestly...
Set in a video store.
I honestly believed in my head that this was going to be as good as Clerks.
Yeah.
And when I finished it, I quickly realized that there is a great disparity between what you imagine and the reality, and also a talented person and a non-talented person. And I found out all about that. Because Shop Days really sucked.
Do you think? I didn't hate Shop Days. I think maybe the problem was the production values were so low.
Yeah.
As far as the editing and the shooting and the sound and stuff like that. That's where it let it down. But I still thought it was pretty good.
It was watchable
for the time.
It was watchable, but basically you're talking about us being approximately the same age, and one person delivering Clerks and one person delivering Shop Days,
yeah,
which was a big pile of crap.
Yeah. That's the one where you played a racist generalization of an Indian person.
That's true. Sanjay.
Sanjay.
And also a Humphrey Bogart. Had a cameo.
Yeah.
So I was talking to myself across the counter playing Humphrey Bogart
and
Sanjay.
Indian.
But you know, to my acting credit, you know,
Sanjay was pretty good.
A couple of people said to me, they're like, shit, I was watching, you know, you acting opposite Sanjay and I didn't realize it was you.
Yeah.
I did not realize it was you.
I mean, I could be wrong, but I think I remember even thinking that. I was like, whoa, shit, that was a pretty good Sanjay.
You go, whoa, he's got some acting chops.
Do you want to give us your best Sanjay?
Well, I can't really. It's kind of the bad Indian accent is something you have to practice a little bit.
Yeah. Well, you'd never give me a chance to practice before you call me out on the show, so fucking hurry up.
Well, like, but you know, like he's like, what? 50 cents? You owe me 50 cents. What? 50 cent?
Who's this 50 cents?
You owe me 50 cents. I want my money.
Right. I feel like you didn't really put much Indian into that.
Well, I honestly have to. I would really have to practice it. I remember the last time I did it, I did practice it a lot.
Yeah.
Yes. How about you? What is it? It's actually a little bit difficult, but look.
To be fair, it has been 10 years.
Over 10 years. It's been like 13 years. No, because we did one. We shot a kind of a sequel.
Yeah, the sequel, which I actually watched recently.
Did you?
Yeah, a sequel where Sanjay works in a leather store, selling leather goods. And we filmed it
and
there.
He does a rap.
Yeah. I watched it. My acting in that
was not great.
It was so terrible.
It was really bad.
It was so terrible. We had no idea.
That acting, your acting in that was very Superstition Bites.
Yeah, which was our very first film, which also the acting was terrible. And I was thinking that, you know, when I look back at I Survived a Zombie Holocaust, or more, you know, my attitude towards it, you know, like nowadays, if I was told tomorrow that I am going to be the lead character, the hero that carries a feature film, I'd be fucking terrified. I'd be nervous as fuck, you know, and I'd be really quite concerned about it. But I was just so at ease with it, and I'm looking back at it, I'm like, how the fuck did I even do that? Like, obviously, what it is it's a combination of, like, you know, just ignorance and youthful confidence. Even though I was like 27, I wasn't that young. You know, because I don't really, like, nowadays it would be so much more daunting if you told me I'm going to be the lead in a feature film, you know, it'd be terrifying, but somehow I just barged on in and did it.
Just winged it.
Just went in and did. I'd never done an acting class in my life. I'd literally never done an acting class in my life.
Well, I think what's interesting about that too is I suggested you do that. And you vetoed that idea. Quite adamantly. You were like, fuck acting courses, fuck you. I just do my own thing. Okay?
I just do my thing.
You know, I just do my own thing, okay? This is what works for me, okay? I just say, you know, some people, that works for them, okay? They're gonna learn some techniques, they're gonna do some acting courses, but no, me, I'm just in the moment, man, and I just react how I think I'm gonna react, and I just learn the lines. So fuck you, guy. Well, so how such a drastic change from that type of thing where you literally were arguing against doing any training to where you're at now?
Well, to be fair, I still don't really want to do training, and I don't particularly enjoy it. And but that being said, I do think there's something to be taken from it. You know, obviously you can learn stuff. But do you know the reason why?
That was my fucking argument. Well, I was like, Robert De Niro, these people know something.
Yeah, but if you're going to say Robert De Niro, I'm going to say Michael Caine.
Yeah.
You know, who didn't do any training. You know, so, you know, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, you know. Each to their own, mate. And so But yeah, so I do think the thing is, I think that you can really learn a lot in acting just from doing. So you're just doing the.
That's very true.
So the more things you act in, the better you get at it. Now, at the time, we were still shooting lots of things more regularly. This was before we started delving into features.
Yeah.
So our projects weren't that far apart. So it felt like I was acting sort of reasonably regularly anyway, and I was learning something every time. But then, basically, since then, what's happened is now that we're mucking around with features, Older has been shot a year and a half ago. Zombie Holocaust just came out. It took 5 years.
Yeah.
Like pretty much our acting projects are far further apart.
Yeah.
And so I feel like in between I'm getting really rusty, and I'm not continuing to improve. And so that's why I was like, well, okay, I better go out and do some acting courses, shake off this rust, and also just basically use it as an opportunity to practice, and that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But it does feel like homework. Like it doesn't. It's not. I'm not like, yay, man, I can't wait till my next acting class. I'm always like, fuck, is it Thursday already?
And in wrestling, they call it ring rust when you wrestled for a long time.
Right.
You're rusty.
Yeah.
So look, I think you're right. What?
Nah, nothing else.
You're gonna say something disrespectful about my beloved professional wrestling?
No, I was gonna make a joke about.
Well, you better not, because
ginger people having anal sex.
Oh, right. Ring rust.
Yeah.
See what you did there.
Yeah, but I couldn't quite word it quickly enough.
And that's why Taika Waititi and Jermaine Clement
are successful.
Are at a certain level, and we're at a certain other level. It's because we can't think of funny things fast enough to come out of our mouths to seem intelligent.
Yeah. And tonight, I'll be in bed. It'll be 6 hours later. I'll be in bed, and I'll be like, that's how I should have worded it.
Well, look, don't disrespect professional wrestling, because I have a very strong feeling we're going to do a professional wrestling movie.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, very strong.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Shit.
It's basically going to be sort of a comedy, sort of rocky, with professional wrestling as the kind of as the thing.
Well, now see, speaking of our future movies, Throne of Blood.
Yes,
we are about to shoot some proof of concept stills for our next feature film, which is a modern retelling or a contemporary retelling of Macbeth set in the, can I say this, in the New Zealand gang sort of culture. Yeah. So that's possibly our next thing.
So we're planning.
At the moment, we're shooting some proof of concept sort of photos, and we're going to develop that. But now this name, Throne of Blood.
Game of Thrones.
Exactly.
We'll be in trouble if it's Game of Thrones.
Well, that's the thing. Like, for a start, it does sound like Game of Thrones. But secondly, when I hear Throne of Blood, it makes me think of a toilet after a woman has been in there with her period.
Perioded herself.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not the type that would just jump in with a critique without a follow-up suggestion.
I'm listening.
All right. Blood Throne. One word. Blood Throne. One word. Give that a go. Let that percolate. Blood Throne. One word. Okay?
It is exactly the same.
No. It's not. It's not. Throne of Blood. Blood Throne. All right? Blood Throne. I'm telling you, man. Give that. Just let that percolate. One word. Blood Throne.
That sounds way closer to someone that is period.
No, not for me. Throne of Blood. That sounds like a period toilet.
That sounds like a period piece, and it is.
Yeah, no, Blood Throne. I'm telling you.
Blood Throne.
Give that. Let that percolate.
Okay.
You watch, dear listener. That will come back.
Well, truth be told, we may not be able to use Throne of Blood anyway.
Yeah.
Because that is the name of a version of Macbeth shot by Akira Kurosawa in about 1950, which is,
back before he was on Street Fighter.
That's good. Who was he on Street Fighter?
Akira? Isn't that?
That's Akuma.
It was so close.
Back before he was a character in Street Fighter, he was a very influential Japanese director who inspired many great films such as Star Wars.
Yeah. I bet his hips don't lie either.
But,
Terrible.
he did many films. The most famous, possibly, Seven Samurai, Rashomon. But anyway, like at a certain point, he was the dude, and he just did the Japanese film to see. And not only that, Harley, but the director had this relationship with the lead actor, and he cast this actor in everything that he did. And basically, that actor played, sort of 10 to 15 years. Like it was always this guy was in it. Who I think his name might be like something Toshiro Mifune or something like that. Kind of hard to remember, but it's Toshiro Mifune. I'm not 100% sure, but anyway, they had a big falling out. Didn't speak for like 30 years.
Oh yeah.
But
do you know what the falling out was about?
Well, I think it was basically, because they had this symbiotic relationship, and then at a certain point, they were both sort of taking credit. You know what I mean? So he would say, it's like when I tell everybody that Pigville's my idea, and I do all the hard work. Yeah, so the actor would say, look, these films would be nothing without me. And then Akira was like, well, you would be nothing without me. I made you in these films. And so it was kind of this back and forth. Now, what is also true is that he never, or what they speculate is that he never really made another great film without this actor in it.
Yeah, well, that's what will happen to you, mate. So you just remember that. Just remember that.
Keep that in mind.
Just remember that.
Just definitely keep that in mind. But anyway, he made Throne of Blood in sort of the 1950s. And I wonder whether or not that the copyright on that has expired or not, or whether we'd run into problems calling it that.
Blood Throne.
Because, the other problem is like figuring out the name of something, right, is actually kind of difficult. Because a lot of people have used a lot of names in films.
Yeah.
So, what you find is like, like sort of simple stuff, like Divorced or The Breakup. There might be like 5 films of that already.
Yeah.
And sort of getting the permission to actually use that is kind of difficult. So we'll see. It might have to be converted to Blood Throne.
Blood Throne, bro. Blood Throne. One word.
It sounds almost like bathroom.
Blood Throne. It's one word, man. It's great. Sounds like bathroom. Who cares? There's Blood Throne.
Or we could just keep working on it.
Yeah, well, obviously this is a back
or we
and
could
forth.
call it Macbeth.
How about that?
Well, the problem is there's another Macbeth coming out in about 2 weeks.
With your boy
Fassbender.
Assbender, isn't it? Yeah.
Michael Assbender.
Yeah.
So I'll be stepping into Assbender's shoes.
Well, I will be. Well, no, we both will be, because we'll both be acting in it, won't we?
Yeah.
So you will be standing into Assbender, actually.
Yeah, because he's playing Macbeth.
Yeah, got it.
So nothing, no problems comparing myself to one of the greatest, most successful actors of his generation.
Yeah. Who plays Banquo in that?
I don't know. We'll find out, because
right.
it hasn't really been. He hasn't been in the trailer.
Right. Okay.
I also will just, because I've been like sort of doing a lot of looking up of Macbeth and Macbeth type stuff recently, and there's an Australian Macbeth, which really doesn't work. Which stars the guy from Avatar. I can't remember his name now.
Sam. He was there when I was an extra in Avatar.
Come on, man.
Sam
What's his name?
Worthington.
That's it.
Yeah.
So Sam Worthington.
Thank you. I remember because he's my friend.
He's your friend on Facebook.
From Avatar.
Did you say anything to him?
No.
Okay.
But I did see him. He was in the same room as me, and then out the back, he was throwing a football back and forth with a few of the other actors one time.
Shooting the breeze.
Yeah. I thought it was very unprofessional.
Highly unprofessional. He should be remembering his lines.
Well, not just that, but he was meant to be in a wheelchair at the time, you know, and I feel like...
Should be getting into character.
He should be getting into character,
in that.
Not running around with a football.
He should have been throwing the football in the wheelchair.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, he, in one of his sort of like very early roles, plays Macbeth. Yeah. In this Australian Macbeth. And he has this weird buffy emo haircut, which I don't think is appropriate of the character. Yeah. And is basically just like kind of I think what really goes wrong is saying all these beautiful Shakespearean dialogue
with an Australian accent.
Yeah, is really quite hard on the ears.
Yeah.
And really quite throws everything into a bad situation. So I'm rewatching that at Mo. I've already watched it a few times. I'm rewatching that again because that is set in the now, but it's using all Shakespearean dialogue.
I think that we shouldn't publicize the fact that it's essentially a remake of, or a modern day setting of Macbeth. Because I never liked those films. Like Romeo and Juliet was good. O was pretty good.
Yeah.
But usually it's certainly not a draw for me. I think like, meh.
Yeah, but it is definitely a draw for bringing the cachet above just a horror film.
Right.
Because when you talk about horror films, there's a lot of people that turn off.
Right.
As we've experienced.
Yeah.
Very, very, very adamantly experienced making the zombie film.
Profoundly.
Somehow people do not take us as seriously. And, you know, it's just sort of seen as like sort of a, like, you know, we shot a drama. Everyone's like, oh, really? What are you talking about? Oh, we shot a horror film.
Oh, yeah, another one. Sweet.
And it's like, there's just as many dramas as there is horror films. It's ridiculous, but... That's by the by.
All right, well, look, we are reaching the stage that we need to wrap this up.
Yes.
So I've got two things to mention before I do my poem.
Okay.
One, I got recognised the other day. I was walking down K Road and this girl who I don't know saw me, and as she walked past,
Was she sexy?
She was acceptable.
Okay.
Well, I'd need to have a better look. But she wasn't bad.
You'd need to have a better look with your clothes off in your bed.
Before I can decide on that.
Groupies.
I was going to say,
groupies, bro.
I was going to say she was fuckable, but then I realised I'd get in trouble if the wrong person was listening. So I better not say that.
Yeah.
So I was walking down the street.
She was fappable.
She was fappable. So she's walking down the street. She goes, I was walking past, just minding my business, and she goes, hey, good luck filming your pigs thing. And clearly recognising me from Pigville. And it felt good. I won't lie. Felt good. Felt good to walk down my city, walking down the street in my city, being recognised.
It's a seminal moment, really, that hasn't really happened. I mean, I remember I got recognised one time on the bus when I was on the bus home from the airport to here.
Yeah.
And someone was like, hey, you the director, the guy pregnant director? And I was like...
You didn't tell me this.
I don't know how to tell you.
No.
And I was like, yeah. And he was like, oh, you did that zombie film, eh? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, oh, yeah. When's that coming out?
And you're like, it's out when it's out.
And I was like, look, fuck off, mate. I don't want to talk to you anymore. No, I was like, oh, that's cool that someone recognised me from that. So
I wonder if you watched it.
If you have watched that, sir, and listened to this podcast, yeah, well, thank you. I was going to say, let us know. It's like, he doesn't listen to podcasts, so it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's preposterous. Yeah. The other thing I quickly wanted to mention is that we've already mentioned it, but just mention it again. We will be at the Writers Guild Awards because Guy has been nominated for 2 awards, Best Script and Best Newcomer.
Best Emerging Writer.
And so that's on the 8th of October. Tickets are bought. We will be there. So I don't know if you're going to be there or not, listener, but come along and say hello if you are.
Emerging. I'm emerging
from his pants with his boner. His boner is emerging from his pants because he can't believe he's finally got some recognition in the industry. So that's what that means.
That's not what I was going to say, but okay, that's fine. I'll leave it at that. That's as good as what I was going to say.
Okay, cool. All right, cool. So in that case, we better do my poem.
Okay.
Because we're running out of time.
Yeah, and I've got to pee.
All right. Well, you can go pee while I do the poem if you want.
Okay, sounds good.
Because you can avoid it.
Thank you very much. I'm out of here. Thank you. I really am leaving to go to the toilet while he does this.
Well, he'll be back because it's only the poem. He'll be back before the poem's finished. Now, I haven't done this poem for quite a long time, so forgive me if I forget bits. It goes like this. So if God really cares, but belief is a prerequisite, then why doesn't he appear? Take my doubt, and sequester it with a public miracle or a television appearance live at 6. I'd be a faithful adherent. Now, this might offend believers, and I'm sorry about that. But I'm going to carry on heedless. If faith is paramount and science needless, then hell must be full of overachievers. You see, it seems to me that if belief is key, then hell must be one hell of a party. The great minds are there. I've no doubt about it. I'm going to take this time, though, to discuss the devout. They might seem fine, but it can't be denied. They talk to an omnipotent man in their mind. I sit back politely, witnessing the absurd as decisions are being made based on voices unheard. I'm going to clarify now, so you don't misconstrue what I am saying. Ask any proud believer. This is essentially what they're stating. They want to get to heaven, which is reliant on them behaving, but the laws of their Lord are not open to debating. So when push comes to shove, the law of our land is a plaything. They play by their own rules, and we're expected to placate them. There's a voice in their head, and they follow its will. And that's fine when it says give to charity, but sometimes it says kill. And if its will is to kill, then they are willing and able. They literally invented murder. Just read Cain and Abel. This ideology is frighteningly unstable. We need to educate people beyond this dangerous fable. Now, I know what's coming next. Well, yeah, but if you had seen what I've seen, you wouldn't be making such a scene. I've experienced miracles, man. God moved through me. Well, that's great. But with just a little read, you'd see your miracles can be explained by basic psychology. You see, when you avoid proof and keep your distance, there's a reason for that. They call it cognitive dissonance. And when you decry facts to justify what you believe in, there's a name for that too. It's called illogical reasoning. These are defense mechanisms to avoid an emotional upheaving. Your mind will do almost anything to keep you believing. Now, while I'm on the topic, I'll address the agnostics, sitting on the fence, wondering why I'm so caustic. They say, bro, stop being such a dick. Doesn't affect us, man. Just let people think what they think. But it does affect us. Consider the time and lives wasted. If it weren't for religion, we mightn't have had the dark ages. We could have conquered poverty and be flying around in spaceships. Instead, we're earthbound, bickering about gay relations. Extremist religion is built on moderate foundations. Your personal belief in a deity has worldly ramifications. Google religion and illiteracy and you'll see the correlations. The more devout a country, the more ignorant its population. I'll finish soon, and I won't go on. But I know an author more enlightening than John. His name is Dawkins. He uses logic you can't refute. I recommend his books. They helped free my mind from recluse. It's time we face facts. The universe is cold and uncaring, which implies that we're alone, and it's scary. I can't deny that. But if you like it or not, it's still the truth. Deny gravity, but you'll still fall off the roof. And that's my poem, Gravity.
Jesus Christ, that was long.
It's 4 minutes 20.
I had time to take a really long piss, and I really thought it was going to be over, but it wasn't.
Nah, you're crazy. It's 4 minutes 20. Perfect timing. 4:20, y'all.
4:20.
4:20, y'all.
My girlfriend didn't know what 4:20 was.
Yeah, well, neither did I until a year ago.
Care to explain?
What 420 is?
Yeah.
Oh, 420 is the code for weed.
Yeah.
The international code for weed. I don't know why though. I need to look into that. If it's like is it like 187? You know, the number for murder and the police thing. Is it 420 or is it I don't know where that came from, but yeah, 420. Let us know. Actually, listeners, do you know why it's called 420? Let us know. And if you don't know what 420 is, well, it's weed.
Or the time to smoke up, right?
Well, is it the time? Because I know that they have J Day. Oh no, you can get high on. Well, when people get high on the 20th of April, 4:20. I know that as well. Well, it's 4:20 p.m. You reckon that's the time of day when that becomes appropriate? It's like you're not supposed to drink beer before midday.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the case or not, but yeah, just like it was the time because, but it could be just the day. I mean, fucked if I know. But how I learned about it was through a genius called Method Man.
Yeah, I was going to say some rapper, right?
And he had an album called I think 421 the day after or something like that. Or maybe it was I can't remember, but anyway, he smokes a lot of weed.
Right.
But look, consider this.
Okay. to steal my opening line from one of my poems.
Now, if religion didn't exist, right?
Okay.
George Lucas wouldn't have the inspiration to create the Force and the Star Wars Jedi universe.
Are you suggesting that all supernatural fiction is based on the concept of religion? Because that's not really true. Like people were making up stories before religion existed.
But he's kind of like basically the Jedis are kind of like sort of similar to Buddhists,
right? But are they meant to be like? Is that sort of the idea?
Like that of that Eastern
philosophy?
Philosophy to a degree,
right?
Like it's obviously he's taken a different direction because he studied religion, right, at university. So if there was no religion, Harley, there would be no Star Wars, and I'm not okay with that.
Yeah.
So, there has to be religion.
Yeah,
religion is important, man.
Yeah. Although I would still suggest that perhaps he would have come up with some other concept still. Like he might not have been it, but like before anything like religion was established, people were still telling stories, sitting around the campfire telling stories of the gods, making the wind blow.
Also, to be fair, to take apart my
own argument
a little bit, is that he could have studied that religion. It didn't need to exist today.
Yeah.
For him to adopt it into his story.
Yeah.
But yeah, a little tidbit of information for you.
Yeah, there you go.
A little Star Wars, little gem for you is also that the original saying was not "May the Force be with you."
Yeah, it was.
It was "May the force of others be with you."
Oh, and they cut that crap down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, and the Jedis weren't just they became the Jedis, but they were originally known as the Jedi Bindus.
Ooh. Right. There you go.
So all I'm saying is religion's very important.
Okay, so on that note, guys, you guys all make sure you go off and pray, because you've just
pray to Star Wars for a good Force Awakens.
Pray to Obi-Wan.
Pray to the god Obi-Wan.
No, look, if you're still here after my poem, you're almost certainly going to hell. So thank you very much for listening. Make sure you give us a 5-star rating on iTunes. Make sure you find the Guy and Harley podcast Facebook page. It's got facebook.com/Guy and Harley, and hit like. I've been promoting it lately. I've spent my own money. I spent $16 so far to get 23 likes on Facebook.
Nice.
Yeah, $16 for 23 likes. That seems fucking shit if you ask me.
So,
considering that if you just posted a video there, a good video, you could get 100 likes. Yeah.
Guess we should figure out how to do one of those.
Yeah, maybe we should make a good video for the once in our life. So yeah, anyway, hit like on the page, and thanks for listening, and we will see you next week.
See you later.
You've been listening to the Guy and Harley podcast, proudly brought to you by Pigville Productions.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.